Another check on business this morning on Breakfast Television. Here's Mike Eppel.
Yeah, hey, Kevin, good morning. We're going to start with the Canadian dollar this morning, which is seeing a resurgence in its valuation against the U.S. greenback. Our dollar is suddenly at a 3-month high. There were a lot of predictions going into this year that the Canadian dollar would flounder for much of the first half of 2017. Hasn't exactly worked out that way. And right now, we've got it closing in on 77 cents U.S. on international currency markets. This is fallout from the U.S. President-elect Donald Trump and his news conference yesterday, where we saw all sorts of market reaction. While Trump was speaking, we saw a sell-off for stocks, specifically in pharmaceuticals, and then the market recovered, and the U.S. dollar, which has been pretty much going up in a straight line over several weeks, all of a sudden it's cooled off. The Mexican peso hit a record low against the greenback yesterday. It's recuperating a little bit this morning as well. We're starting the trading day with the Dow Jones Industrial Average 46 points away from 20,000. Still just can't seem to breach that milestone. It's been bumping up against it, we'll say, for the past several weeks now. The TSX coming off a back-to-back rally, and we've also got the price for oil. You saw it there, up sharply this morning, with Saudi Arabia saying they're actually cutting back production a little bit more than they first thought. Changing banking landscape in Canada expected for 2017. Globe and Mail has an interesting story this morning about how the Canadian banks are scaling back on the number of branches in operation, as again the shift toward mobile banking will likely accelerate over the course of the year. Traditional bank branches now more seen as a place for Canadians to go to talk about their investments and meet with advisors, that sort of thing, as opposed to doing teller operations. Nevertheless, the banks branches are still going to remain in place, but you may see fewer of them over the course of this year. Another day, another study pointing to a continuation of the real estate rally that we've seen for Toronto. Royal LePage in with its outlook for 2017. And again, we're talking about the idea of low supply, high demand, higher prices for Toronto real estate this year, and the move for a lot of people looking further to the outskirts of the 905, because that is where the affordability exists. Over the course of the past year, that actually, 905 saw the largest percentage price appreciation in the GTA. Trend is probably going to continue this year. And again, the idea of a Vancouver real estate market slowdown, forecast for prices there to fall by upwards of 8.5% over the course of this year. And the end of an era for a couple of U.S. airlines over the course of 2017. United Airlines says it's going to phase out the remaining fleet of Boeing 747s by the end of this year. And this follows a similar path that Delta Airlines had previously announced about the end of the Boeing 747 for their mainline long-haul fleets. They can do it with a Boeing 777 or the new Dreamliner. They're much more fuel efficient. So again, the Boeing 747, which was seen as the empress of the skies for a long time frame in U.S. aviation, probably not going to see too many of those in the skies after this year. Of course, Air Canada has previously phased out their Boeing 747s. And Kevin, you ever fly one of those? Any chance?
No.
No?
No.
Yeah, you have to, I guess British Airways would probably be one of the last, and El Al, a couple of overseas. But you got the big planes, just not as popular as they once were. They're just not as fuel efficient.
Yeah, they're just not as fuel efficient. I mean, I'm one of the few, though, that enjoy the much smaller aircraft. Really? I'm talking about, you know, the Porter Airlines kind of what are those, the Dash? Russ, what are those, the Dash what?
The Q400s.
Q400s, thank you.
Yeah.